What's shaking, YouTubeites? Welcome to Lords of the Long Box presents the CovrPrice comic book Shakers of the Week. We got a really interesting list for you. I can honestly say I am going over today. I looked at the list and I go, man, and it's not even like these are old books. These are just books you would have never thunk would, and it kind of breaks the mold of what we've been thinking about collecting. As we go through it, we'll look at it. And, and I'll tell you, it's like when we thought variants from 5 years ago couldn't get hot again, you know what? This list pops up and bites you right in the butt. So while you guys are waiting to congregate, got a little something special for you, man. First one in the live chat who names what song this is from, you get a Marvel No Prize. J Squad.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Aren't you?
Cowboy.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Six Faith Comics. You're the first one to name it. That is from Cowboy Bebop. Very kind of 70s mod squad retro kind of theme going
Reminded
to
me
it.
of the Spider-Man cartoon.
Right. No,
right?
Japanese anime has awesome music.
All
But speaking of it, JB, say what's good to the people, man.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us tonight. And you know what? Don't ever do this, but I'm figured why not? If you are watching us and you're not subscribed to the channel, why the hell not? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next live show. And welcome to tonight's Shakers List.
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
There you go.
Jack, say what's good to the people.
Lords, what's good? Actually, I got to tell you, I am excited for this week's list. There are some heater variants, some of my favorite variants on this list. I'm really kind of pumped for this week. I'll call it the Loki variant episode.
This when you think we're zigging, we start to zag. And, there's not like a ton of like golden age crazy books on here, but there's some books on here you're like, you know what? I remember this book, and it's like, I can't believe the price it's at right now.
Right?
But once again, shout out to man Matt DeVoe from CovrPrice. He's in the live chat right now. The show is sponsored by our friends over at CovrPrice.com. Go to CovrPrice.com, sign up for a 2-week free trial or $6.99 a month. This is the CovrPrice Shakers List, focusing on new sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shakers List. This list changes several times every day, so make sure you check it out to review some of the hottest trending books on the market. And after we go over this list of 10, we'll see what's shaking today. The show is all sponsored by our friends at KRSComics.com. Use the discount code of LOTLB for a KRS pull box and any KRS Comics exclusives. And we teased a little image of what was dropping tomorrow, and
Ooh.
I can broadly say this is what's dropping tomorrow. That's right, boys and girls. That is the Batman 89, Warren Liu, #1. That is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Love the retro Batman 89 font for those who remember when
I was going to just say, what do you think? This is another one where I like the trade dress better than the Virgin.
Brian? Yeah, because of the font.
Right? The font makes, helps make that cover.
And if you didn't pay attention, man, this thing sold out in 4 minutes. And we were talking about this on the show the other day, Jack. But I was talking to Chris from KRS Comics, and he ran analytics, and he said about almost 50% of the people who bought this were first-time buyers, meaning they were probably sneakerheads that got into our community to buy it, because it was normally the KRS people, they already have an account, but he said 50% of the people who helped get this sold out within 4 minutes were brand new accounts to KRS Comics, which is amazing to me. So that just continues the trend of cross-pollination for people from grading video games and trading cards and all that stuff. So, all right, so pay attention tomorrow. Use the discount LOTLB. This drops at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Absolutely gorgeous Warren Liu Batman 89 variant. But we're here to talk about the cover price shakers of the week and see what's shaking this week. What do we got? That number? Well, you know what? It's alphabetical. So what's the first one?
All right. The first one on the list, we've got Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 12, the Shogo Aoki Tokyo Con 2018 variant. Now, convention books outside of the U.S. are almost always tough books to get access to here in the States, and this Tokyo Con 2018 exclusive is no different. This is the first variant by the popular Japanese artist Shogo Aoki. It's unknown how many copies exist, but this week was the first copy we've ever seen, and it sold for a huge $725. This high price will help call more of these out. That's a dope cover, man.
That's $725 for a raw copy.
Raw dog.
And I can honestly say I've never seen this before.
Me either. And it's rare I come across a variant, especially a modern variant, that I haven't seen.
From Tokyo Con 2018. That's amazing to me, man. I mean, it just goes to show you that traditionally comic books have not been really big in Japan, right? If you think of any other thing in Japan, like anime, manga, mecha, Godzilla, anything, right? But comics weren't really a big thing. But I think slowly but surely it's proliferating the kind of the thing. They still have their go-to, right? Manga still sells a huge number, but I think there's still, Marvel is trying to make their imprint into the Asian markets. I mean, if you think about this, I think the second biggest Comic-Con in the world is in Brazil after San Diego. It's that I forgot the name of it, but at one point Disney and Marvel both had panels there, and I think it was a debut. They debuted I want to say the Wonder Woman trailer there one year, but it's got, boys and girls, this hobby of ours is worldwide. It's really getting big. I mean, when you look at all the foreign variants that people are getting now, people are making chips hoping they can find comic book stores that have them, but for the longest time, Japan has had their thing, right? They're deep into manga, in anime, and then you get the toys and everything like that. But it's kind of interesting when you watch that documentary about Spider-Man, the Japanese Spider-Man, and how it kind of launched a lot of things. If you watch, it's on Marvel's Disney Plus. I think it's one of their documentaries, and they talked about how the Japanese Spider-Man show really launched a lot of shows like Power Rangers and things of that nature. Believe it or not, go watch the show; it's amazing. Anyway,
and I think a lot of times we talk about these like high-priced variants, and people kind of like roll their eyes when like this kind of money is spent on a raw variant. But I think this is something to me that feels justified, because as long as you and I have been doing this, TiVo, like if we haven't seen this book before, right? I mean, that's rare. A supply and demand thing. Like this, I could justify this expense far before a lot of other books.
When I say I haven't seen this, I haven't even seen anybody post this on Instagram. Or, you know what I mean? It's like,
not even just in the wild. I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, so that's what it's pretty. I mean, you got to think the print run isn't that big, and how many people made it from Japan back to the States or kept copies of them? I mean, that's pretty amazing. Great job by Matt DeVoe doing the research.
Finding this, right, man?
Amazing Spider-Man number 12, the Shogo Aoki Tokyo Con 2018 variant. Look at that, $725 for raw, man. All right, what do we got up next, Jack?
All right, now we're taking it to 2019
this
with
is one of my
Conan
favorite.
Serpent War #1, the David Finch 1 in 100 variant. Of course, this is from Marvel. Now, Moon Knight fans are snatching up big MKs, bigger, harder to find variants. This is definitely one of them. Conan orders are typically low. A 1 in 100 for this issue is a very tough incentive requirement for stores to meet. Very few would have ordered 100 copies. Upon launch, that's exactly what happened. Very few copies hit the market, hitting the ground at $76 and rapidly jumping to 150 and then 255 and then reaching a high raw sale of 355 in January 2020. This week, while it's not the highest, a raw copy sold for $240. This is still a super rare book and simply one of those books you cannot lock down if you want to find a copy before the Moon Knight news hits.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to Moon Knight, it's Finch and it's Platt. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else. Those are my
For sure.
two favorite Moon Knight artists. And that the Finch covers that he does on that Moon Knight run are absolutely. And if you look now, all those the bloody variant, all those are hot now because of the adjacency to, I guess you could say, the Moon Knight series. I mean, first of all, how long have we been specking on Moon Knight, right? Like everybody was like, it's inevitable. He's gonna come. Just start buying him. And then sure enough, we finally got an announcement. We got a good actor that's gonna do it. Hopefully they do it right. A Moon Knight title just launched on Wednesday. I don't know if there was a Finch variant. I know there was Finch homages, but man, Marvel really had a chance. I don't know if somebody in live chat knows if Finch or Platt did a Moon Knight 1 variant, because they should have. That would have been great marketing to kind of, because I know either Mayhew or Kirkham homaged Platt's cover for
Right,
what is it?
yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't actually have Platt or Finch do Moon Knight covers. I mean, I don't know. There's probably like I don't know, maybe 20, 30 of them, but there's so many store variants now, it's hard to keep track of them all. But yeah, obviously Sienkiewicz is also great Moon Knight covers, but his is more, what's that style? I want to say it's surrealistic or something. You know what I mean? It's like, whereas
there are a ton of people who have done Moon Knight and done them well. I see like Delato in the chat. Certainly Delato does everybody well, but you hit the nail on the head when I think that is something to pay attention to, especially when you're looking at variant covers, are what artist is synonymous with that character.
Exactly.
And when you start looking at variant history, there is no harder to find, tougher chase than some of those David Finch variants from the early 2000s up through like 2010. So because of that, to me, it's a no-brainer. You're exactly right. I think Steve McNiven did a great job with the art on the current Moon Knight, but like for sure, the guy should be David Finch. That when I think about Moon Knight art, I'm gonna see David Finch for sure.
But just like like Platt, though, Finch's art has changed since then. Obviously, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
But even 2019, you could tell this is like a throwback to what he used to do, like on his Moon Knight run. But man, anything, and you're gonna find on this list is interesting that before 2020, you can get a 150 variant, 175 variant, 2 years after the fact for like $30-$40. But the trend of collectibles and is so big now. What we thought was going to cool down, people are going out and finding, hey man, look at these 175s, 150s, and you'll see as the list goes on. So Conan,
this list
Serpent
is heavy
War issue #1, the Finch variant from December 2019. God damn, that's gorgeous. All right, speaking of variants, what do we got next?
Right, that is the variant is the tone of the day here. Right, next up we've got Daredevil #1. The Neil Adams 1 in 75 variant, originally published in 2011 from Marvel Comics. Now, back in 2014, any modern variant over $100 was notable. Now, today, there are way too many of those to count, right? Some of the most celebrated variants sprung from the super low Marvel years of 2010 through 2012. And if you recall, Marvel put out some high ratio incentives, 1 in 50, 1 in 75, and 1 in 100, at a time when stores were ordering numbers that didn't even come close to those requirements. That made for some ultra low printed exclusives, and this is one of them. This Neil Adams 1 in 75 is almost never mentioned, despite it also being a representative of the time frame. When it comes to Daredevil, this may be one of the toughest variants to find for the Man Without Fear, and it's done by a comic legend, Neil Adams. This week, we saw a raw sale went for $184.14, which is the highest raw sale to date.
Yeah, for this book, that was, I mean, it kind of looks like he swiped, was it Quesada that did the Daredevil #1? Where, I mean,
Quesada-esque, for
yeah,
sure.
it almost looks like Neil Adams swiping, didn't even bother giving him, like Neil after Quesada. Because, Neil Adams, great guy, I mean, but he's definitely got himself, I wouldn't say ego, but he's very confident of his skills and abilities. You got to be confident to be wearing the same blue shirt all the time. Or I don't know, maybe he has a closet full of blue shirts. I'm not sure, but every time I see him, he's got a blue shirt on. But Daredevil, #1 by the great Neil Adams, 1 in 75. And if you think I'm going to talk about that PBS documentary, again, you're wrong. Okay, you're right. I am. Neil Adams is in it as well, and it's great. You see the part. Him and Steranko in it are absolutely incredible because they talk about the old days of comic books. But Daredevil #1, Neil Adams, 1 in 75 from the Dark Ages, 2011. What do we? This one is gnarly.
That's right. Now, JB thought he was sticking me with these,
Right?
Here. But here's the thing. This is one of my favorite variants that I personally own, so I'm so excited to get to talk about this one. And we're talking about Ghostbusters #14, the retailer incentive from IDW in 2011. And if we're speaking of rare books, when is a 1 in 10 ratio impossible to find? Answer: early IDW books. Licensed comics are typically terrible market sellers, even if they're connected to massively popular franchises. If you've read any IDW Ghostbusters book, then you would know how deeply connected to the canon storyline it is. Writer Eric Burnham is well known as the biggest Ghostbuster expert on the planet, and it shows in his writing. Despite this, stores simply didn't order enough copies to qualify even for a 1 in 10. And for those that did, copies quickly went into the hands of die-hard GB fans. IDW has so many impossible to find variants. That is a fact. This Taxi homage is one of those. It's been elusive to online sales for years. We've only tracked 4 copies, and 3 of those were this week. One seller came to market with several copies and sold them for $200, $270, and $325 raw. Wondering how many copies are on the CGC census? There's 1, and it's a 9.2. There are so many like this. With Ghostbusters Afterlife finally coming out, it could give a lift to some of these hard-to-find variants.
Yeah, because in the past, like we've always said it, movies that weren't originally comic book properties, nobody gave a shit about. But now, throw that all out the window. I fully expect when the Indiana Jones movie comes out, that Indiana Jones series from the Marvel, from the 80s, people are going to buy that. You know what I mean?
No.
But what's funny is people always think of like Ghostbusters as the kiddie cartoon. Even the movie, too, it was rated PG-13, but Taxi Driver is an incredibly dark movie. You know what I mean? You looking at me? I know you're looking at me. I'm sorry. That was my really bad Robert De Niro doing really Taxi Driver. Who can do Robert De Niro? We'll just throw it in the live chat. So what's awesome about this cover is it's kind of like, oh, Ghostbusters, and kind of friendly family. Then boom, it's a Taxi Driver, one of the most dark, demented movies, about a guy going just through really psychological issues. If you haven't seen De Niro in that role, you are missing out on something.
Right.
Expand your horizons.
There's 2 things that this book has majorly going for it, too. Number one, it's part of a movie poster homage series that was across like IDW. And it was very similar to the popular series they did for concert posters. So this series got popular with collectors, and there was a lot of like cross line collecting of people trying to put that set together. And some of the toughest ones, like, Transformers is a lot larger printed than Ghostbusters and things like that. So, and even that the Transformers poster is a tough one. But the Ghostbuster one was really tough. And then on top of it, Ghostbusters in general, I have a huge IDW variant collection. I've been talking about it for years. I love these niche markets. My kind of rule of thumb when like I'm at a con and I see like a Ghostbusters variant or something like that I've never seen is I look on eBay, I look at the census, and if I don't see one on eBay, I buy it. because my thought is like it's probably sitting in PCs and it's probably just not out there. And books like that, man, you can put them up for sale and you will be surprised if you're patient enough that it just takes one buyer.
Yeah.
Do-
So
do-
let's
sorry,
think
do
about
you think that-
collectors. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, do you think that, with Stray Dogs, that homage series that they've done that is so fire right now has, given you some renewed interest in people looking for other movie, theater, poster, horror film even type homage covers? Because this is what this reminds me of.
Well, I mean, kind of but what Jack was just saying, in 2011, who was ordering IDW at such a high ratio where you could get, whatever. I mean, nowadays, you have indie comics that are doing 1 in 25, 1 in 50s, which was unheard of in 2011, right? I mean, if you think even Marvel wasn't doing that big of numbers, think about IDW, the audacity. And it's not even a first issue to come out and say, yo, we got Ghostbusters 14 and you have to order this amount to get it. And that's why it's a combination of rarity, cool cover, new collectors coming in. I mean, if you think, we're not even talking the 90s when print runs were easily in the 800,000s and 900,000. Nowadays, if you have a print run of 100,000 to 150,000, you're going to be in the top 3 for comics.list of that week that's sold. But 2011, that was a pretty ballsy move on IDW. But now we see it all the time with Something That's Killing the Children and all these other I call them indie books. It's kind of hard to call them indie books when they're so popular now. But for the most part, indie books are not part of the main DC or main Marvel is what I consider indie. Hell, I even call DC Black Labels indie books because they're relatively, low print runs and they're not part of the regular continuity. But all right, Ghostbusters 14, the retailer incentive taxi driver homage variant from January 2011, a raw dog, $325, man. All right, what do we got next?
All right, well, we're at the halfway point of the list. This is a great time to tell the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. If you are having a good time, do hit that thumbs up. If you're not digging it, hit the thumbs down, but hit it twice. All right, next up, we've got Mighty Avengers number 3, the Salvador LaRocca Eminem variant, originally published in 2013 from Marvel Comics, and it's no secret that Eminem is a huge comic book fan, right? Well, his XXL Eminem Punisher comic is a pricey book and a tough one to find. Another not widely known variant is this variant for Mighty Avengers number 3, featuring an homage to Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP 2 album cover. On the cover, Eminem is there hanging out with Iron Man ever so casually. This week, this hard-to-find one-per-store exclusive hit a new high of $480 for a CGC 9.8. I dig that cover, man. That's dope.
Yeah, yet another one I've never seen in the wild. Because everybody knows the XXL or the XL Punisher, cover. That's the one, right? And I think there was another one with I want to say it was Deadpool with Eminem on it. I'm trying to remember if I remember right. But what's interesting is Eminem was a huge comic book fan. If you Google it, he has like a high grade copy of Amazing Fantasy 15. That's how hardcore into a lot of these hip hop artists grew up reading comics, man. I mean, it's in the lyrics themselves. If you want a lot of the old, for you old heads out there, a lot of the album art, they copied comic book covers. I can remember Africa Bambaataa. The Planet Rot album has like a thing on it. Nucleus, the group that did Jam on it, also has, they literally have like a little price box in the upper left hand, just like the Marvel Comics that used to have. So shout out to Aegis Comics of Alaska. If you haven't seen his latest video, go look at it. It's about comic book Karens. Oh my God, it is freaking hilarious, man. Go peep out of Aegis Comics Alaska. You know what, Lou, send me the clip, do a Dropbox, and I'll play it on the next show so people can peep it out, man. It is absolutely hilarious. If you haven't know what a comic book Karen is, tune in and watch out, and it's absolutely hilarious. So Mighty Avengers number 3, the Salvador LaRocca Eminem variant from 2013. All right, let's see if that trend continues with modern variants.
Oh, well, we're going to keep it going with modern variants because we're talking about Miss Marvel number 12, the Alessandro Taimi Red Widow 1 in 25 that Marvel released in 2016. This book has a lot going for it. Not only is it a gorgeous Red Widow 1 in 25 cover by Alessandro Taimi, but the inside features the first appearance of Red Dagger, who will be in the Miss Marvel Disney Plus series, played by actor Aramis Knight. This variant has been climbing for a while now, but this week just hit a new high sale of $680 for a CGC 9.8.
My goodness, I would have never thunk it, but that's crazy. I mean, it's a dope cover and everything, but I mean, it just goes to show you, I mean, the level of spec that's happening right now. It's micro spec. It's literally any. I mean, if you look at the top 10 list on Tuesday, we had a Thanos copter on there one time just because of the little Easter egg on Loki. So it's just the tiniest little things that will set collectors off, be it a nostalgia buy or be it whatever. But I mean, I remember prior to Disney Plus launching, I was thinking, I pondered. I didn't say it was going to happen, but I was like, I wonder if the Disney shows are going to change the way people spec. But before that, Netflix TV shows, whatever, CW shows, they got some movement, but not the level of movement we saw when WandaVision started and all the Mephisto stuff, right? Falcon.
Well, it's also changing the way people collect too, because we talked about that before. But like these new collectors who are coming into the market, they are collecting these MCU characters.
They're collecting events that they saw on TV.
Right. So anything that is appearing in these films or is going to appear in these films is going to, I think, continue to see a spike. And, the Mighty Avengers variant that we just talked about, that's a one per store variant. So at least every store got one. Ms. Marvel back in 2016, 5 years ago, you were talking about a not quite in the position that she's in today.
She wasn't announced yet either. There was no announcement, an official announcement. I mean, this just goes to show you that
25 copies here even might have been tough for shops.
The difference between now and the 90s is the 90s had new collectors who were just thinking they were going to get rich. Now, when you have new collectors coming into other collectibles that already know about grading, like from PSA and who does the gaming? WADA does the video gaming grade? They already know what that I need to get rare games. I need to get the highest grade. So you got people coming in the market that are looking for, let me find rarities or key issues, and I want the highest grade as well. You know what I mean? So that's why you're seeing the money being spent. God damn it. Why wasn't I on the Skybound panel with you, Jack? That's what I want.
Right?
So, maybe next time. So make sure you check out Skybound's panel while my man Jack dropping some knowledge. Miss Marvel, number 12, the Alessandro Tiani Red. Well, that's a fun name to say. The Red Widow variant, 1 in 25 from October 2016. Not bad. It's almost $700 for 9.8, man. All right, this is the most obscure one on the list and the most fun, I think.
This is fun. Come on, man. Radioactive Man number 1, originally published in 1993 from Bongo. Now, nostalgia is definitely a play here. And if you grew up in the 90s, then you were most likely a Simpsons fan. If you were a comic fan, then you understood Bart's desire to own a Radioactive Man number 1, which he did for a short time. Now, Bongo recognized the desire to recreate one for fans, making it an instant collectible. Though it's been pretty dirt cheap since it was released back in 1993, Raws typically have an FMV of around $20, though high-grade copies can reach about $40. However, it was this week's new high sale of $562 for a CGC 9.8 that's reminding us to pay close attention to significant cultural books like this. This was a big jump from June's 9.8 sale of only $200. Wow.
Oh, that's crazy. That's, that is pure nostalgia buy. I mean, there's another like added part of this is people who, I don't want to say not rich people, but let's just say adults who have jobs and disposable income, and they're realizing, hey man, I remember these when I used to be young, and now as I'm an adult, comic books are for kids, but they realize it's not. And and these are the same people who are like, let me get rich with AMC stock, or let me get rich with Bitcoin, but now they're like, maybe I can spend some of that money I made on some of these comics, and they realize the prices are going great. I mean, it's just a big market right now. There's multiple platforms on what you could buy. I mean, it's just really blowing up. And Radioactive Man, number 1 from Bongo. Hey, what's the name of the comic shop owner in The Simpsons?
What is that guy's name?
Isn't he like the comic? I thought he was just comic book guy.
Yeah, comic book guy.
Yeah.
Has he ever appeared in the comics? That would be the perfect first appearance. The comic book guy in comic books. Somebody in the live chat.
For sure. I know they've had an extensive history. I still wonder about this. I think about different licensed IP all the time that aren't currently active in the comic space. Like, why doesn't IDW, who has a relationship with Marvel, who obviously is owned by Disney, who owns The Simpsons, Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they bring out a new Simpsons series? How could that do any worse than some of the titles that they have? I mean, I would think that would be at least a nostalgia demand.
So this next book is going to be probably the perfect example why I think it has legs. Everything wants to be The Walking Dead. What The Walking Dead did differently than most comic books that got adapted was, while the show was going on for multiple seasons, the comic book was still an ongoing series as well.
Yep.
I mean, that's the way you build legs on a show. This book was recently announced, and this book will continue to have an ongoing series as well as a Netflix series. And what is it? We can't have a list without this book that's at least showing up once.
Come on now, I'm deep on this one. Something's Killing the Children, #1. We're talking about Jenny Frizen, but we're talking about the Diamond Retailer NYCC variant from 2019. And of course, that comes from Boom Studios. The recent content confirmation news has definitely lit a fire under Something's Killing the Children sales. However, it's hard to find variants like this NYCC exclusive are seeing bigger increases. This week, this sold for a new high of $1,216.51.
Wow.
Damn.
Just when you think it couldn't get any hotter. This is why I haven't seen a lot of people post on Facebook and social media asking, what do they think has a next chance of being the next Walking Dead? And I think it's Something Is Killing the Children because of what I just said. It has an ongoing comic book and a show. Hopefully the comic will continue to go as the show goes. And that's what really kept The Walking Dead hot as it was for the longest time, right? I mean, they were introducing new characters in the shows, and then those new characters would eventually appear in the comics and eventually die, or vice versa, right? I mean, if you think about Umbrella Academy, didn't have an ongoing series when it first came out, but then they came out with something else. I think what killed Jupiter's Legacy was not having an ongoing series when it came out, and they're coming out with, I think, Jupiter's Legacy Requiem, right? If you think about Deadly Class, I don't think had an ongoing when it came out either.
It did, but it's been towards the end of the run, and I think that was more of a victim of sci-fi because that show was good.
That show was awesome. I don't know what sci-fi was thinking. They need to bring that back because I love that show. I mean, maybe it was on the wrong channel, but Netflix saved Lucifer, right? I mean,
so that's the thing is, I think Deadly Class is a hit on Netflix outside the U.S. I think it's available for people outside the U.S. But I think you're exactly right about this one. I think that's going to make a big difference. I also think the new announcement in the last week of the House of Slaughter spinoff series.
Definitely the House of Slaughter.
It's going to be a big deal because here's the reason. I think what makes Something's Killing Children also very successful is the fact that you have a badass lead character. I've often called Erica Slaughter, like if she was a big 2 character, if she was showing up in X-Men or something like that, she would be just individually the hottest character going because she has everything that like a modern character kind of needs to pop, both like in character, like personality and aesthetic. But that can sometimes be limiting because you can only do so many things with one character. Introducing an entire universe in history for the House of Slaughter is going to allow them to tell stories and have a world where you could have all of these stories that don't even involve Erica Slaughter, which I think it gives them an opportunity to do something. Unlike The Walking Dead, like they've already seen that journey, so they can take what works and then they can add in some new things that will kind of avoid getting to that stale point that I think The Walking Dead did.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, after they, killed off certain characters, people were like, they were no longer interested in it but you know what? I would love to see a Boom Studios Netflix cinematic universe, whatever the hell that acronym is going to end up being. But there's
a lot of rumors about that. There's also a lot of rumors about a Tynan-verse. That is Department of Truth, is Something's Killing the Children, is there linkage there? A lot of rumor in that direction.
Because Millar supposedly is going to have something, and even though Jupiter's Legacy is not doing a season 2, they're going to still tell stories within the Jupiter's Legacy universe. And I'm a huge Mark Miller. It's actually Miller because he's Scottish, but I'm a huge Miller fan. Whatever he does, I'm down with, man. I can't wait to see Nemesis, Super Crooks, or any of those that get adapted. And I was really bummed out when they decided not to continue telling the story of Jupiter's Legacy because really it's for all
intents and purposes, though, Super Crooks is going to be Jupiter's Legacy season 2. They said same universe, just different perspective.
Yeah,
All right.
supervillain's perspective. Yeah, if you haven't
Yeah.
read them yet, they're great reads. And Nemesis is one of my favorite
Really
Miller
is. Yeah,
books.
that's a good one.
That one's badass, man. He almost kind of looks like Moon Knight a little bit if you think about
Yeah,
it. But
yeah, he's got a little Moon Knight, little Punisher action in there.
yeah. All right, so something is killing the children. Jenny Friesen, the Diamond Retailer, NYCC 2019 variant, sold for $1,200. I'm trying to think. Back in New York City Comic Con 2019, was there this much heat behind something that's killing the children yet? I don't think so.
Hell no.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started probably, I want to say like a year ago, really. It started really picking up, and then it
was a hot new series, but it wasn't like hot to the point that like the back issues were booming yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth prints, people going back and looking at them and saying, wow, this is awesome. Let me get this. So,
Diamond Retailer variants are always tough too because, man, they get handed out. So, trying to make that trip back home and keep them in good shape, that's always tough.
Yeah, forget about it. All right, so something is killing the children. We got 2 left, boys and girls.
Here we
All right,
go.
what do we got next?
Well, first we got a super chat, man. Aegis Comics of Alaska coming in strong with that $5 super chat. Nemesis looks like Space Ghost with Glocks.
That's a good way.
That's the tagline right there. Space Ghost.
There you go. Space Ghost with Glocks. There you go.
All right, man. This book, I actually owned this book at one time, but we won't get into that. Next up, we've got Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider #1, the Ji Hyung Lee 1 in 100 variant, originally published in 2018 from Marvel Comics. Now, Ji Hyung Lee is arguably one of comics' best artists. There aren't many covers that you find yourself staring at for more than a few seconds, but this is definitely one of them. The rain, lightning, the colors in this book, they're just simply perfect. If there's any variant that deserves its high price tag, it's this one, and boy, does it have one. A CGC 9.8 hit a new high sale this week of a massive $2,300 for a CGC 9.8, making it the second most valuable Spider-Gwen cover after that Edge of Spider-Verse issue #2 Land 1 in 25 variant. I owned this book at one point.
I think Matt may even be wrong on this because I was on CovrPrice and there was one that sold in May for $23.99. So, and it was a 9.8. So it's still we'll go on CovrPrice and look. I could have swore I seen it for that, but this is not a first appearance. I mean, maybe is it the first time they called her Ghost Spider? I don't know, but I mean, obviously it's still not Edge of Spider-Verse #2, but right up there with it because it's absolutely gorgeous cover. And I think at one point I bought like 1 or 2 of these when it was like, and then I sold them.
It's a straight up cover art play. I think the thing that made this one accessible for a while is the fact that there were a lot of retailer exclusives. And that's the difference between a book like this and say the Conan Serpent War book, where that book is an absolute ghost. You can't find it at all. This one you can at least find, even though the demand for it is a lot greater, which is why the price is larger.
But in 2018, I could see somebody ordering 200 to get 2 of these. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And there was also a lot of retailers who ordered 3,000 to get an exclusive, and then got a stack of them. And I remember when this book came out, there was some heavy flexing on Instagram from some retailers who were showing their stacks, but you knew that this cover art was going to be the type of iconic cover art that this was going to disappear. And sure enough, it has. There's another retailer who's done some exclusives with Ji Hyung Lee, very similar to this aesthetic. So if you missed out on this, there's some other ones you can grab. I won't say their name out of respect to our sponsor, KRS. I want to give them a shout out, but we'll just say that there's some other art out there that I think a lot of people have grabbed because, man, this sucker is unattainable to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I mean it's absolutely gorgeous. It's not doing too much. Nowadays most covers there's not a lot of action going on. It's typically one person posing or one face. You know what I mean? I mean it's just the days of like I would probably say the Copper Age is the last time we really got to see like multiple characters or even word bubbles. Ever see dialogue on covers anymore? And I kind of miss that in comic books, man. Back in the day when, especially most prominent in the Bronze Age and onto the Copper Age, where there'd be dialogue on the covers, and people were actually saying stuff. Another thing, even on internal comics anymore, people don't have thought bubbles anymore. It's all captioned. But prior to that, you could have 4 characters all thinking something different on a screen and on a page, and I used to think that's great storytelling. But now people have they limited it, and everything is in an orange caption box, or they're told from their perspective. You don't have these thought bubbles. Bring that back, guys. Bring that back, people. So Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider #1, the Ji-Hung Lee 1 in 100 variant sold for $2,300 in July 21st,
that, man. Good Lord.
man. Speaking of Walking Dead, I can't believe we haven't had a Walking Dead book on this show in quite a long time. What is it?
Take us home.
That's right. A big one, though. This is The Walking Dead #100, the Retail Appreciation Lucille Foil variant, which is, of course, from Skybound and Image from 2012. This foil Lucille variant was easily one of the most valuable variants in 2013 through 2016. There were 3 versions of this cover, a non-foil, a signed non-foil by Kirkman, and this foil version. This standard signed cover was an incentive sent to select retailers with large orders for issue #100. The unsigned copy is also significantly rare, where multiple copies escape the wrath of Kirkman's pen. However, the foil, limited to 250 copies, was the, and some say the first, Skybound Black Friday exclusive sold directly via their website for a hefty price tag of $250. As noted, these variants flourished in the aftermarket until the last few years, where the market price plummeted, hitting a high of $2,025 for a 9.8 in January of 2018. It fell as low as $550 for a 9.8 in 2020. The spike most likely came with the fanfare for Jeffrey Dean Morgan's portrayal of Negan on the Walking Dead series, then dropped after the market's interest went elsewhere. However, Walking Dead has proved its staying power, and Negan still lives. Hence, this book is now on the rise. This week, a raw copy sold for $600, and 9/8 sell for $1,300.
My goodness, man! I almost think Matt likes to see offers, because there was a ton of offers and
Right?
a few 1 for 10s, but I don't not many 2 for 10s.
I
But
didn't see a single 2.
that's Matt. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it harder for you guys. He's saying too many people are getting
Lord.
6 for 11 on the Cover Price top 10. So thank you,
This
Matt,
was-
for this.
This was up my alley, though. This was a variant one.
Yeah.
So I actually got,
list.
I got 3, and I feel good about that.
All right,
Man.
but hey, you know what? Don't fret, because we're gonna see what's shaking today, boys and girls,
Absolutely.
and
Let's
see
check the list today.
make you guys feel
Changing.
better about yourself. You know what I mean? So
Constantly changing. Make sure you get yourself the full membership so you can see the entire list.
yeah. So let's see what is on the shakers today. So we just go to this comic book report. There's our top 10, dominated by Loki type related spec. These are the movers. Look at that. These are the most units sold, but we are concerned about the shakers. These are the biggest sell item books. I only got 3 in the top 5. Oh man, what's going on here?
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Iron Man making some moves. Hey, we were just talking about that. There's the Ghost Spider. Let me pull this up real quick, because I want to see what the all-time. Yeah, I was right.
Yeah,
So,
$23.99.
Yeah, so $23.99 in May of 2021. So hey, somebody got himself a bargain for $2,300 to save himself $100 off that. This is little Miles. Oh my God, hold on. Why this one? Hold
Wait a
on.
minute. Does that say raw? Someone
said
spent
raw.
$2,300 on. Is it newsstand? What is it?
This is
No.
just the regular one.
Wow.
This is not the newsstand. Wow.
That's
$2,300 for raw. Man. So I was just
Maybe
talking
that's
about.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
It has now eclipsed the raw price of what I thought was the rarest one, which is the Marco de Jervik one at 25. That raw one and that one just sold, says here, 1,600. Or that's fair market value. That's still the one to get if you could find it, by the way. Moon Knight getting some more love. Hey, look at this. Some J. Scott Campbell, man. There we go.
J.
Look
Scott
at-
Campbell.
Oh, that's gorgeous, man. This is Uncanny X-Men number 510, the Campbell black and white variant. Although
No
it's
Time to
just black and
Travel,
white
ladies.
background, really, but colored anyway. Ooh, $2,150 for a 9.0.
I know.
Holy smokes! Somebody spent
What?
13 grand on a 9.8 in 2018. My goodness. I was even gonna say, man, you don't even get all the colors on it. I'm just kidding, but that does
Holy
look dope,
moly.
man. There was a moment where J. Scott Campbell, people were like getting tired of it, but I think with the renaissance of, variants and cover artists, J. Scott Campbell. People are coming back to our man J. Scott Campbell. And we can't have this show without pre-code horror books on here, man. This is Dark Mysteries number 19 from Master Comics, 1954. Look
That's
at
sweet.
that. The code is not going to allow that. That's definitely good girl art as well. When some horny skeleton
bondage.
guys.
Look at that. You got it all.
Oh my, that is
Good girl
awesome.
art, bondage, nice.
Raw Comics sold for $1,400, man. You know what? There's probably not even, there's none that it been sold. So it's like any pre-code horror comic you come across in the golden age, buy it, man. Cause they're, you just don't see them that often. If you see them in a while, just buy it. Don't haggle, just snatch it up, man. Well, this is interesting.
Ooh, what's up? Yeah, Marvel superheroes. What's up with that?
Yeah,
one?
Marvel superheroes. I'm trying to think. Is this the first solo Doctor Doom story? I'm trying to think. Matt, if you're in the live chat, help me out here.
Drop some knowledge on us.
8.0 for $1,000, man. 9.8 last year, so for $3,200, man. Still a dope art. Still dope art cover though. Look at this. Holy cow! I haven't seen this one in Deadline Comics from Deadline Publications. This is Deadline number 1. What the hell is this? The first appearance of Tank Girl. I never know. See, I at least fully admit that I did not know what the first full appearance of Tank Girl was. I think we were just talking about that last week too. How when some of these movies are coming out in like the 90s, it didn't affect the comic book market at all. Remember when Tank Girl movie came out? Nobody went out about the first appearance.
Right.
Just like when the Blade movie came out, nobody's buying Blade. Just you know what I mean? Speaking of.
What is that crazy?
The exact opposite of the pre-horror or pre-code horror books. This was a byproduct of the Comics Code Authority. They started doing these kind of, if you think about the Silver Age and all the goofy covers that they had, it was because of the Comics Code Authority. And I don't want to bring up that documentary again, but you should watch it. And they talk about the Comics Code Authority. You could apparently have guns on the cover, but you couldn't have too many sexually explicit things. You couldn't even talk about drugs. So that's when they had the drug issue. So contrary to popular belief, people think it's Green Arrow, Green Arrow, Green Lantern book that had the first drug. It was actually an Amazing Spider-Man book. Neil Adams saw that and he goes, or was it Steranko? Who did the drug issue? My ward is a junkie. Neil Adams went to the Marvel offices and saw that they were doing a book about drugs. And Stan Lee said that the National Institute of Say No to Drugs said, hey, can you do something? He goes, well, our stories aren't really about that. And one of the comics, Spider-Man saves a kid that was high on drugs and was about to jump off a building. And the Comic Code Authority said, you cannot say drugs inside the comic book. But Stan Lee goes, but we're saying don't do drugs. And then they said, you know what? Fuck it. Take the stamp off and the rest is history, man. Then the people realize, we don't have to have this Comics Code Authority stamp on here and still be able to publish. So there you go, man. A little bit of history for that. All I learned on that documentary that I'm not going to tell you what is again. Let's see. There's some nice little friendly stuff here. I'd love to see some Harvey comics, man. Casper the Friendly Ghost, number 1. $569 for 6.0. You know what?
You got to be kidding me.
I would buy this. I love the first issues. I can't afford them, but like the Disney comics from the Golden Age, like the first appearance of like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, all these characters, man. If you think the comic book collecting world is big, just get into the world of Disney collectors. Oh my God. It's a huge market, man. Hey, and we go straight from Casper to a little Lady Death, half naked on the screen, man. That is absolutely gorgeous. Who is that's an art germ. You know what? I would, and to me, I would like, you know what? That doesn't really look like Art Germ, because for a while there, all of his characters look the same, but this one looks a little bit different, man. So this is Lady Death, Nightmare Symphony, issue number 1.
Wait, this is limited to 77 pieces. There's only 77 of these in the world.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Brian Palladino, the creator behind Lady Death.
Polito.
He is an absolute legend of variant covers of the direct consumer market. I mean, he has really laid the groundwork. He created the first blank cover. I mean, he has really been a trailblazer, and I don't think he's gotten any of the credit for the fact that he's about a decade early than the entire market.
Yeah, if you go to Coffin Comics website and you see it, and he was doing some of these Day of the Dead covers, and they were absolutely amazing, man. But I think Brian Pulido, did he also do Evil Ernie? Yeah, he created Evil Ernie, right?
Uh-huh.
Because Lady Death appeared first in Evil Ernie, if I do believe. Trying to tap into my memory banks here. Hey, we haven't talked about this book in a minute. Okay, so this is
Ooh, is that
really
the
gonna
convention exclusive?
Yep.
Yes.
this is really gonna test the market for me, man. I'm gonna see how if Naomi bunks the or you know the CW kind of thing. This one's cool because if you saw the show poster, it's in like an homage to this cover, which is awesome
Yeah.
that they did that. But it'd be interesting to see, man, because normally you know the CW can be the kiss of death on spec, man. So when people say
But
Naomi
big butt with this one. Ava DuVernay is
is
the
going to be
show
producing, yeah.
the producer and the showrunner behind it. And you are talking about like Netflix quality programming, feature film quality programming. She took this on because first off, she's a comic book fan. Second off, she specifically connected with the Naomi character and she wanted to be the one to really bring this character out. So I like the fact that the person behind it is both capable and invested in it. So I have high hopes for Naomi.
Let's hope they give her a big budget. Well, if you think about it, what is the Superman and Lois show? That's on CW, right?
It is.
And that budget looks pretty good compared to
HBO Max budget, right?
yeah. I mean, HBO Max has. I mean, I wonder if they're pulling some money from HBO Max on some of these shows here. But you know what's curious about this as well is this came out in 2019. Rarely do you actually see the publisher put special convention edition on it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like a variant, like a on-time retailer would do it, but you know, for DC to actually say special convention edition on there, I think that's kind of cool, man. You rarely. I'm trying to think of like modern, even the if you think about, remember the D23 that had the Mickey Mouse on it, the first appearance of Mickey Mouse in Marvel Comics or whatever, and that D23, it was basically a version cover. You wouldn't know that it was a D23 exclusive because it didn't say anything on there at all. Oh, look at that. Our man, look at that little Venom on here. Never mind. This one is dope because I love this, these covers, man. Look
See
at
that
that.
Ghost Rider.
Look at that wraparound cover. Oh, God, it's so awesome. This is the Arturo Lozzi, 1 in 25. First full appearance of Ghost Rider, Alejandro Jones. CDC 9.8, so for $3.90. She's rumored to be part of the Ghost Rider mythos that whenever they do it. So I would tell you to guys to go out and look for that book, man.
Dude, Stray Dogs is on fire.
Yes, it is. But you know, it's too obvious. Let's see it. Let's talk some Battlefield action. All right. See, the code was interesting is you couldn't talk about drugs or sex, but you can have full on war on it on the cover right there. So
War propaganda, baby.
yeah, Battlefield Action, issue number 40 from Charlton Comics from 1962, raw for $295. Which is interesting is like, he's like, look, get down, lady. She's like, there's bullets whizzing by her, and she's gonna like, I am gonna save this guy if it costs me my life. So just got some DC action on here.
Warfront. What is that? You got that War as Hell Warfront?
Oh yeah,
What's
I love.
going on?
Yeah.
You got Battle Action and Warfront?
Harvey Comics. This is another pre-code, 1951. Look at
Dude,
that.
he's straight shooting somebody on the cover, and that's allowed?
Well, this
I mean,
is
that
this
dude's
is
straight-
pre-code. This is before
Okay.
the comics code. Yeah, so 6.5 for 300, man. So I want to look at this one here because this one is
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to find at all,
Dude,
man.
that's freaking
This is
awesome.
hard as hell to find. First appearance of Man Thing, and it's a magazine size. Raw for 330. Highest known value 9.6. 3,200. Are there any 9.8s? There was one 9.8 that sold in 2016. I mean, when I say this is a hard book to find in high grade, it's because just the size of it, if you think about back in the days, bagging boards now are so much easier, right? But to think about if you were collecting back in the day, even in the 80s, like, where, your shop
Where you gonna
had,
put that in?
yeah, because nowadays they have bags of boards for damn near every size except for that damn First Ronin book. Everybody's complaining about a bag and board. We love us some Run the Jewels on this channel. This is Deadpool 45, the Scotty Young Run the Jewels, Young Jewels variant. But this is Run the Jewels, $375 for a raw dog, man. This is a hard one to find too because of the all black cover. But yeah, another hot, the cross worlds of hip hop into comics, man. What is this? This one's looks nice. Andrew Robinson, 150. Jack, we were just talking about, high ratio books from, 2014.
2014's run.
Yeah. Were you curious to see once we get closer to Thor Ragnarok if we start really seeing this run pick up with Lady Thor?
Yeah, so much of it's still undervalued.
Yeah, I think if once I tell you, man, collectors are it's like they're
We know it's coming, but nobody believes it until you absolutely see it in your face.
They're agnostic collectors. They don't believe it until they see it. Like God, I don't believe in God until God smites me down or he greets me in the gates, the pearly gates, right? I mean, it's almost like, I know the character's coming, but unless I see them in a trailer, I will really pay attention. Or it's the casual collector that's getting into the market and they see it for the first time and go, hey, is there a combo based on this? Oh my God, look at these prices. I better buy one now. Boom. And then you get these high sales. So, there you go. We have taken up an hour of your time, man. Appreciate all 170 you guys hanging out with us. If you're new to the channel, we drop content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday or Saturday. But Tuesdays and Thursday live at 6 p.m. We do the CovrPrice shows. We just talk about comic books, man. And then Sundays, I talk with my man Mikey Sun. We talk about scoops. If you're new, we're also on podcasts. Alexa, play Lords of the Long Box podcast on Spotify. Hopefully you have an Alexa. My own damn Alexa device went off. Yeah, man. Hey, we're close to 7,000 subs. If you're new and you're watching and you haven't subbed, do us a favor, hit that sub because we want to really love to give away some stuff. So once we hit 7,000 subs, I'm sure I'll speak for Matt. We'll give away some CovrPrice subscriptions, some KRS Comics exclusives, part of Ryan's liver since it's shot. Ryan's liver is no longer functional, so we might as well just give that away as well.
Give it away.
Jack, any last words?
There will be no Run the Jewels slander tolerated in the chat.
What? Who was talking bad about Run the Jewels? Oh, no.
Gone.
Dude, let's just digress a little. When they showed the first Black Panther trailer with the Run the Jewels track, I was like, you had me right there. Because they only played it on that one.
That Run the Jewels has been so awesome just for their appearances in movies alone. Like, when a Run the Jewels track shows
Rick and Morty, didn't they do a Rick and Morty video too? There was a Rick and Morty. Yeah.
They have been so clutch for the culture.
Yes, sir. All right. No more. There will be no Run the Jewel slander in the live comments. But Jack, go ahead and finish your last thoughts.
No, yeah, I just want to say thank you guys. Appreciate it. I will not be able to make it next week. I will be at the National Sports Card Convention. I'm doing a live panel on comic books for CBCS at the National Sports Card Convention. I'm invading their territory. I'm bringing the fight to their house, fighting the good fight for the comic book community. So definitely you can check that out Friday. I believe it'll be Friday morning, but follow Beckett Media's social channels. It'll be on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
If you can find me a cheap Shohei Ohtani rookie card, just...
I'll
keep an eye out.
Yeah, I'm not even an Angels fan, but I've seen how his rookie card is just blowing.
Insane.
It's crazy. So you're going to be talking comics at a card.
Yes.
Represent us well. I know you'll do it, man. Bring them over. Bring them over. Convert them into the world of comics and tell them.
Right. I'm taking them one person at a time. I'm bringing Gary V with me. He'll be there too. I'm going to go ahead and grab him and say, you're coming to comics now.
Is this going to be any live streaming for this at all, or?
Yeah, I'll be doing some stuff with Beckett. I haven't figured out the schedule yet. That's all been in flux.
All right. So, man, I'm telling you what, guys, the world of collecting is just, the lines are getting blurred, literally. I'm telling you, it's just crazy. It's people have money. They're selling one thing to buy the other. And, hopefully the hobby can flourish, man. JB, any last words?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And the channel is, kind of taking a little time out right now. I appreciate all the love and support from everybody in the community, the flowers, everybody sending stuff to the house. I really do appreciate all that. Looks like we will be kind of come back with some content maybe in August. We're wrapping up the treatments here and we're going to move forward. So
awesome. Keep fighting the good fight, my friend. We will see you guys maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. It's my birthday weekend, so I'm going to go enjoy myself, even though I enjoyed myself a lot last weekend.
Take the weekend off, man. Take the weekend off.
You know what I'm going to do? I already got my tickets. I'm going to go out to lunch, and I'm going to see Snake Eyes on Saturday, man.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that out. I don't care what people are saying. I'm going to go see it and make my own thoughts about it. And, people are, Grace Randolph had good things to say. Humberto Gonzalez said he hated it absolutely because apparently Snake Eyes talks. You don't get an actor like Henry Golding and not have him talk throughout the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Snake Eyes can talk. maybe something else happens. Maybe he takes his vow of silence later, right? I mean,
I'm a diehard G.I. Joe fan, and all I care about is that G.I. Joe is back. The toys are back in stores. The cartoon is coming back. We're getting an Amazon show. There's a movie. I just wish you're not a G.I. Joe fan if you're going to complain about this. Look at the movies we've had in the past.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be better than that. Like
the one with Bruce Willis, and The Rock.
Yeah, he can talk, show his face. I don't care. As long as we get a kick-ass movie, I am on board.
But you know what was cool? I think it was the second G.I. Joe movie, the mountain fight scene.
Yeah,
that was dope. That was dope. And Storm Shadow in that was dope too. So, all right, boys and girls,
is always dope.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. Until next time, for AKA Jack, Mr. Bolo, JB for Discovery Comics, we will see you either this weekend or definitely Tuesday. But until then, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back! Word up! Let's do a job! You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even know.